All right, everybody. Chris Cuomo here. You got the benefit of eavesdropping on my conversation with my longtime friend. We've covered a lot of things. We've never covered anything like this. Welcome to NewsNation. I just don't know if it's a nation anymore. This is where people should come for right and left to lose to what is right and wrong. But I'm losing, right? Because right and wrong have been replaced by just what works for right and left. This is not hyperbolic. This is not an exaggeration. This is not a suggestion in a moment that is capricious. This is the real. This is the now. It is wrong to suggest members of Congress may be executed for what they said. The president is wrong. We need to all start saying what is wrong because you know, even when it doesn't benefit your side, especially when it does not benefit your side. Our politics, our country is not Jets versus Patriots, where when it's good for the Jets and bad for the Patriots, that's the same thing. Zero sum. Win the game. It is destroying our democracy. You may not believe that. You may think, oh, come on, it's just this is how. You probably haven't seen societies kill one another the way I have. You haven't probably watched it. Maybe you haven't studied it. Maybe you haven't been affected by it. I have seen it. I have watched the death in real time. I have heard the planning. I have heard the rationales. We don't want that here. Now, let's just deconstruct how we got to this completely effed up place, okay? Here's the instigating moment.
Administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Take your own advice. Now, look, I say this is being called the instigating moment. I don't see it that way. Now, do I agree with what they're saying? Well, yeah, as a concept, they're right. You shouldn't follow illegal orders. That's what they say. Not don't listen to him anymore. Don't listen to any of them. Don't listen to MAGA. That's not what they said, but that's what he heard. Why? Because that's what he wants to sell you. And there are too many of us who are here for it. Now, right or wrong? This? Wrong. All day long. He's MAGA. Shut up. This is the truth. Okay? Saying what they said is not even close to illegal. It is not even close to any legal or logical definition of treason. And if you watch this show, I said last night when it came out, it was wrong to put the duty to check a president on the troops. It's on you. You have a constitutional duty. What an ugly irony that it's members of Congress asking this. It should be citizens who might be asking that. You're supposed to check. It's why you raised your right hand. But what is it about now? They're looking for a fight. Why? Because you want them to. Because you want a muscular response to Trump. You want him to stop walking all over you. You want him to stop getting away with everything and him calling the game all the time and controlling everything. You want a muscular response. That's why you want Newsom on Twitter, you know, acting like fools. We're all acting like fools. Why? Because I guess we don't know any better anymore. But I know we're playing with fire, and I know worse is to come on this course. I don't like it. I don't want it. I will leave my family. I will enter unsafe conditions to cover it. But if we don't reset and fast, we are asking for big trouble, okay? Shooting Charlie Kirk was wrong. Shooting Trump was wrong. Attacking Pelosi's husband was wrong. Attacking the Capitol was wrong. Calling riots protests was wrong. Shutting down the government is wrong. Chasing citizens around the streets as if they're illegals is wrong. Now, if any of these examples met your mind with a Yeah, but stop. You are wrong. I know people in my position don't say that. I know. It's like politicians telling people they're going to raise their taxes, right? I get it. I'm supposed to say I'm on your side. I'm supposed to feed you what you already believe. I'm supposed to tell you why you're better than the other side. But look where that got us. You want to dismiss what I'm saying. Both sides, Cuomo. The absurdity of that it shows me how ineffective I am at my job, that I can be seen that way. False equivalency. That couldn't be more of a foreign idea. But that's what you all think. That's what you think. And that excuse has led us here. Not this one moment with the members of Congress getting what they asked for, which is a ton of attention. It's this battle to the bottom where our measure is only and exclusively which side is worse. We don't do right and wrong anymore. We only do whether or not it's right and wrong for right or left. That's your lens. Break the lens. See it. See it. The president mentioned George Washington. 2 points. One, no, don't do that. Go back to where I was. Man, I tell you, this is why I vamp all the time and I don't use the teleprompter. Anyway, Washington said in his farewell address, "Be a nation, that is all." Okay? Why? Because he was thinking right and wrong and he knew the factions would kill us. Look at us today. The left messes with Trump. That's what the video was. It was punking Trump, right? It was posed as patriotism. But that's what it is. I think actions of the United States military around Venezuela and the U.S. government surrounding immigration should be litigated and debated, and I find a lot of it wrong. But look, let's be honest. Calling on troops to disobey illegal orders, yeah, that's a true statement. But it's also an antagonistic one, right? And whether you like it as a suggestion or not, or whether you think it's a strong move, or whether you just think it's being antagonistic, I don't care. But that's what it is. This is what you were looking for. And I'll show you. So they put that out. The president, of course, what does he have to do? One up, right? 100%. You hit him, he's got to hit you back harder. Everybody knows that's what it is. That is misperceived as him being tough. Ask people who use their hands. That's not what makes you tough. But that's how it's seen. So he does what he's expected to do, what the base wants, right? Lots of caps. The President of the United States, seditious behavior, punishable by death, and reposting, hang them. George Washington would. I don't give a damn that he reposted it, okay? Unless you're saying, look, what do you think of this idea? We all know what you're doing. You're retweeting it because it's something that you may be thinking. By the way, he's wrong about Washington, okay? I told you. He said, "Be a nation, that is all." His inclination was a constant rejection of fringe and party battles, exactly what's devouring our democracy. Trump is an instigator. The president is a trash talker. Now, there was a time that you lose if you do that against a leader who doesn't act like that, who shows you're rational, polished, measured. The biggest man in the room is never the loudest man in the room. Never. That is not a sign of intelligence, of confidence, and of competence. Okay? But surrendering, as it would once be seen, to angry, dangerous talk of a drunk teen is where we are. We are conditioned by dropping standards, erasing values, and social media culture, where trash talk and threats are perceived as strength, owning, destroying. So the president says that. We have the minority leader, something that would have been unimaginable pre-Trump. The minority leader of the House, once praised for poise, for his ability to be even in crisis, tells the president of the United States to basically shut up and accuses him of treachery for January 6th. This is where we are, and I'm sure he's being applauded for it on one side, and he's loathed for it on the other. Discretion is no longer the better part of valor. Running your mouth is. And heaven forfend, Hakeem Jeffries be the final word. No, no, no. This is about getting attention to show I'm your guy. I'm a real one. Senator Chris Murphy. Another thing I never imagined.
The President of the United States just called for members of Congress to be executed. Maybe it's time to pick a fucking side. Maybe it's time to draw a line in the sand. We are at a very dangerous moment right now. The President is engaged in the wholesale incitement, endorsement, and rationalization of political violence. This is a very slippery slope that we are on. This is a moment for people to step up.
Step up and do what? Senator, consider for a moment how sad it is that you lose to that. Pick an effing side. What side are you on, exactly? And sure, you're going to give me some histrionic soliloquy about, I'm on the side of justice and cause. Yeah, but you lost to him. And you know why? Because you couldn't convince the American people that you're not bullshit yourself. That's why. It's a vulgar word. No, it's a vulgar idea. Okay? See the threat, people. Don't worry about the language. Worry about the ideas. Worry about the reality. Worry about the implication. Look, as someone weaned and trained on debate, who sees confrontation as their happy place, as someone who has paid the price for using violence many times, believe me when I say we are heading for trouble because you keep elevating your talk. Eventually there is action. You keep debasing yourself and making it just about whether or not you or I will kick the other's ass. Eventually we will see who is right and who is wrong. And I wish it were as simple as saying, wow, is that hyperbolic? He needs to calm down. He needs a Zoloft or something like that, or something other stupid thing. We're going to wipe it away and everybody will be like, yeah, this isn't aberrant. This is obvious what I'm saying right now. This is all this stupid man talk. By the way, not what worried me the most in this little latest volley. You want to see the moment? A word I hate. We use in TV all the time. I don't even have a guest at the top of this show because I don't want anybody to have to own what I'm saying. This is just me, okay? I saw something today I thought I would never see. And here it is.
Does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders.
The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence?
No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Look, here's what bothered me. The ease of this exchange has nothing to do with the people involved. It has to do with the moment. I actually worked with the reporter. She's great. And I don't know Levitt, but she's good at her job. It's not necessarily a compliment, but she is. The calm of the question. I could never imagine seriously asking a representative for my country, for the United States of America, is the president serious about wanting to execute members of Congress? And meaning it. And that question to be met with nonchalance. No, but. No, but. What but? What but is there in that? And then you turn right to what? But what they're doing is just as worse. It's worse. What they're worse. No, they're worse. Isn't he worse? Because no, he's worse. And they're just reflecting what's happening everywhere. Now, I don't know. Again, it's not about them. It's not a boy-girl thing. It's not about media. It's not about guys. It's not about none of that. It's about us. It's about what we're allowing to be our fabric, what we're allowing to devour us in this society, because it's everywhere. Again, it's like a bad movie where parents are mad at a kid, or even less so. they're mad at a dog. The dog, they come in and the dog is eating the couch. Oh, that's my favorite couch. My mother gave us that. I hate it. And the other one says, yeah, we should just kill the dog. And they kind of look at each other for a second and it's frozen. And you don't know what they're thinking. And then they both laugh, ha, 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 ha. Because it's such an absurd idea. It's such an overreaction. Nobody's laughing now. Nobody's laughing now. Look at your social media. It's filled with people saying they're ready to go. Go where? Look, I know many of them have probably never even balled up a fist before, let alone, thought about that type of level of violent exchange, but it's here. I know. I read your messages when Rose can't keep me from doing it. I know you all want me to pick a side. I would rather lose this job. I would rather, I've never said this in my career, I would rather fail. I would rather fail and get fired and lose my job because I can't get an audience. If the alternative is to pick a side in a game that is divorcing the majority of this country from its government, from its moral center, and from its future. I know what we're doing is wrong, and I'm not going to surrender my intelligence just for the convenience of success. You will not convince me that anyone in this mix is out for anything but advantage over the other, increasingly by any means necessary. How did we get here, 2 weeks after a shutdown that was supposed to be about health care? That's because it was never about that. It was about outrage and which side could maximize it, and you know it's wrong. Knowing Epstein makes you, Epstein class makes you bad. Ro Khanna says the whole class should be eradicated. He can explain what that means. But Stacey Plaskett, one of his own, texting Epstein for guidance during a hearing, now he's just a constituent. That's wrong. Promising lower prices and then being quiet about tariffs that crush small businesses and consumers is wrong. Saying ICE is fine to arrest whomever, however, and show us no data is wrong. Okay? Representative Crockett misfiring on proof that Epstein donated to a bunch of righties is wrong. And this passing for an excuse within her party is wrong.
I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies.
Wrong. And it was wrong not to jump on her about it. Why? Because you want her back on. You don't want to piss off the party. Look, I get it. I get it. The selective outrage, the yeah, but, false equivalency, existential threat, pick a side BS is killing us. It is bullshit. And now you'll say, ooh, he cursed on cable. It's a vulgar. Focus on the idea. You're upset by a noun more than a nation in decline. I mean, come on. Saying Biden was all there when he was clearly declining in age and stage was wrong. Being silent when the president says a lot of things because you fear him is wrong. You heard a senator in his own party say on this show there is no will to counter President Trump because he will primary you. That is wrong. And how they, on the left, they ignored Hunter Biden making money off his dad's name, and that was wrong for them to ignore it and be quiet. They should have joined it. Trump pardoning a Chinese businessman who put tens of millions in his son's pockets is wrong. And the game that we all play in this business is, hey, if you flip the R and the D, these two sides just flip. Yeah, and that's wrong. And we are at a point now, right, because this is what happens. This is human behavior. It keeps escalating because there's no check. There's no reset. There are no rules except advantage. All the things I just said. Every time I list one, I bet you right now on this phone, it's filling up with comments. No, that's nothing like that. What he did today is the worst. No, what they said, no one's ever said. And this one, how could you say that about Jasmine Crockett? Racist, misogynist, you hate the Dems, you hate the right, you're this, you hate being white. I hear it all the time. Nobody has any ability to call out their own side. Doesn't that frighten you? Are you like that anywhere else in life? Would you trust anyone who's that way? I won't even watch a game with somebody like that. Look, I've taken up enough of your time. I hope I'm telling you what you already know. And it's just a nudge to don't let them do this to us. I'm telling you, I know how this movie ends, man, and you are not going to want to live through it. We have to stop allowing everybody to be the worst of themselves all the time. You have to start insisting that just like in your parenting, your partnering, your friendships, your jobs, that you judge the people in public office by whether or not they check the boxes that you require everywhere else. And if they don't, just say it's wrong. If they're on your side, it only makes you look stronger when you come at the other. Look, that's how I see it. I've never seen anything like I saw today. I never thought I would see in America a casual conversation about whether a president of the United States is serious when he says he wants to execute members of Congress. Never. I could never imagine asking that as a straight question. And it is a straight question. This is where we are. We are in America, right? We are the white plume pointing the way is up, right? That's how we were seen to the world. And now we're talking about who gets killed for what they say in America. That's where we are. Where do we go? I don't know. But I'm with you. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. When we come back, this is how screwed up it is. If you can prove that you are a victim of political violence, it is now empowering. Did you hear about this person? This MAGA fanatic? But it doesn't matter. It could have been either side. Faked a horrible act of political violence. Paid someone to write Trump whore on her, to slash her up. You need proof of the poison. Wait until you hear this. Another sign that the pain train is coming. That political violence is such currency that people will fake it. Cops find a 26-year-old former Capitol Hill staffer, MAGA fanatic, Natalie Green, in a New Jersey park. Her hands bound, face and neck all cut up, by the way. Words like Trump whore written across her body. She said 3 men attacked her in the park, grabbed her, threatened her with a gun, said they were attacking her for working for Republicans. Wow, huh? She would have been all over the T-shirts, right? She would have been at the next convention, right? But here's the real deal. Thank God for people doing their job without fear or favor. The Department of Justice says it was a hoax. She's been charged with conspiracy and making false statements. Now, you want to hear how screwed up this is? And I don't want the guest to own this. I just want the analysis of how they broke this case. If she had Biden whore written on her, think about how people would be believing the DOJ was setting her up and not taking her claim seriously. That's where we are. Now, let's discuss how we know the truth from the former FBI Assistant Director, Chris Swecker. Chris, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being with me.
Hey, Chris. Good evening.
So, when you look at the lacerations, when you look at it, I would be easily overwhelmed by this, but I'm not a trained forensicist. So what do you believe led them down the path of suspicion? And have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Jesse Smollett is almost an identical case here. But when you get other people involved in a conspiracy, and this is co-conspirator one or conspirator one who's not named in the indictment, but we know who it is, and you got a third party who actually did the cutting on her, then you're bound to get caught. I mean, this was just fairly amateurish. The stories didn't match up when the investigators went to investigate this alleged crime between the conspirator, the other co-conspirator, if you will, unnamed co-conspirator, and the supposed victim. So, they got down to the bottom of it pretty quickly. Their stories didn't hold up. Then they did some gumshoe work on the internet and what kind of searches they had made. They found some receipts in her car for the zip ties. They actually had to do some internet searches to find out where to get zip ties. You can get them, at any Walmart or any other hardware store, but they had to do an internet search, which becomes evidence against them. She paid $500 to a scarification expert, if you will, to slice her and dice her in a way that would not be permanently disfiguring. So pretty creative. I'll give her credit for that, but this was a fairly amateurish crime.
I think it's a little bit of a postcard from the edge of where we are right now in our society. Jussie Smollett was a way of baiting a racism issue, and this is more of a which side is worse play. I'm glad it was foiled. And always good to see you. If I don't speak to you again, have a good Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for having you in my life.
You too, Chris. Take care.
Take care. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, now I want to talk about something that can be very real. All right, there's a new report out. I don't know how to feel about it. You decide for yourself. Muslim extremists are trying to infiltrate America's college campuses and other key U.S. institutions. Now, some of you are saying they already have. Okay, what's the goal? Destroy our democracy. Well, let me tell you, we're doing a great job ourselves, aren't we? But maybe we're getting help. A woman who wrote the report is sounding the alarm, but I want perspective from a guy who has raised me on what terrorism is and is not for decades. Phil Mudd is here. What should we be concerned about? Where are the terrorists? Next. Islamists are trying to destroy America. Today, a 200-page year-long report by the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy says there's a 100-year plan by a militant Islamist organization with groups in more than 70 countries known as the Muslim Brotherhood, which oddly America does not see as a terror organization. And their plan is to transform Western society from within and destroy our democracy. And they're about halfway there. How? Infiltrating college campuses. Lots of bot accounts and troll accounts that make us hate each other, and destroying our institutions. Earlier this week, Texas Governor Greg Abbott declared the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, known as CARE, as both terror organizations. Now, they're suing Abbott, and that's not really his purview, but of course, it's just politics of provocation, right? Is it justified? I have a co-author of the report, Dalia Ziada, and former FBI and CIA counterterrorism official, Mr. Phil Mudd. Good to have you both. Dalia, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Chris. So happy to be with you.
So you have to, let's begin at the beginning. People always hear Islamists and think Muslims. So what do you want people to understand about where the threat is and how real it is?
Over the past 2 decades, at least, if not 3 decades since 9/11 or more, the Muslim Brotherhood, and they have actually said this, put this in their documents, their strategies, they hijacked the identity of mainstream Muslims and represented themselves as a speaker in the name of Muslims. But what most people don't know is that there are so many shades of Muslims, ranging from reformists up to extremists. However, unfortunately, those who are speaking in the names of Muslims, especially in the West today, are radical groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, and they are doing this as part of their identity politics game that gives them legitimacy and allow them also to weaponize the voices of Muslims to destroy America's democracy and freedom.
Let me ask you one more question, then we'll bring in Phil. CARE is a well-known in media circles advocacy group for Muslims. When there's a terror attack that involves an extreme Islamist or a jihadi, they have a tendency to come out and say, don't judge us all by these people, we condemn them, and use all the ordinary language. Why do you include them as an extension of a terror organization?
First, I would love to applaud the decision made by Texas governor recently of designating both CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood. And by the way, this is the first action on that level to mention the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE by name, which in my opinion is so brave, because for so long, CARE has been camouflaging the audience into believing that they are really representing Muslims. But in reality, as our research show, and it's a long research, actually you spend an entire year collecting this information, we found that thanks to organizations led by CARE and its friends or sisters, the Muslim Brotherhood were able to create an empire on their own, a network on their own that infiltrated into educational systems, created parallel institutions for Muslim communities that isolated them from their American society and American interests, made America comes next for them. And most importantly, they have also infiltrated the political system.
All right. So, Mr. Mudd, you've heard this. Putting aside the deep weeds of how American law is a little squishy when it comes to domestic terror organizations, mostly because both the right and left thought it would be used against them. Let's be honest. They weren't thinking about protecting the country. Where is your sensitivity to what we should be concerned about in terms of Islamism destroying us?
Low. And I would go to extremely low. I mean, I spent 25 years dealing with this, including 5 at the FBI after 9/11. If you think we didn't think about the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE, Chris, America has forgotten what it was like 20 years ago. Every day we went into twice-a-day threat briefings talking about who was a threat to America. CARE was a problem. We can talk about that. They're a problem because they told Muslim Americans not to talk to the FBI. That's irritating. That's not illegal. Let me cut to the bottom line. If you break a local, state, or federal statute, you should be charged and thrown in jail. If you choose to practice an aggressive form of religion and say that you don't like Israel or you want Islamic values represented in America, like it or not, that's accepted in America. Let me close on this point. I mentioned earlier that CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood after 9/11, you think we didn't look at Muslims? That's all we did. If there was evidence that there was either support for terrorism or terrorists among those organizations, do you think they wouldn't have been named after 9/11? It's been 25 years almost, Chris, and they haven't been federally named as terrorist organizations. I'm no apologist for terrorist organizations. If they haven't been named, let me give you a clue. The evidence isn't there, Chris.
Well, look, here's what we know for sure. The recent rash of political violence we've seen in this country have not been jihadis. They have not been Islamists. They've been homegrown Americans with really bad ideas. Dalia, thank you for your perspective on the report. Phil Mudd, it's great to see you. I don't like you wearing my signature outfit, though. Never do that again. Have a happy Thanksgiving. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And now, remember, this show is designed for free agents, for independents, for critical thinkers. That's why I present you with opposing ideas when it comes to this one question about, hey, are these Islamists a real thing? And why? Because you can decide for yourself. I want to give you food for thought, right? This isn't church. All right, we've been talking about transparency, right? And that we need it to help rebuild trust. But it's just as important when it comes to other issues where they're not telling us what they know, like UAPs. For me, it's never been about green men. It's about transparency. There is now an explosive documentary, and it reveals an 80-year global cover-up of non-human intelligent life. The director of The Age of Disclosure, a must-watch. Next. Okay, NewsNation has been on the forefront pushing for government transparency when it comes to what they know and what you should know about UFOs or UAPs. Now, we may finally be getting some answers. Tomorrow, one of the most highly anticipated documentaries on the subject is coming out. It's called The Age of Disclosure. And I'll tell you, it's impressive for its roster, if for nothing else. It's got dozens of current and former government officials, including the Secretary of State, by the way, Marco Rubio. It claims to uncover an 80-year global cover-up of non-human intelligent life. Take a look.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
This is so secret. There have been very few people in our entire government that have been allowed or provided access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis.
People have been hurt protecting and hiding this information.
Some people claim it would cost them their lives if they spoke out about these things.
Information being locked away that could change the trajectory for a species.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
Tantalizing, right? Joining me now is the director and producer, Dan Farah. Dan, congratulations on the project.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Non-human intelligence. Must that mean little green men?
No. I made a point of making sure this doc didn't sensationalize the topic at all. We stayed super grounded. We kept it very real. The 34 military government intelligence officials I interviewed all broke their silence to reveal that there's been an 80-year cover-up of the existence of non-human intelligent life. And moreover, that the United States is engaged in a high-stakes secret Cold War race with adversarial nations to reverse engineer technology of non-human origin. And the stakes couldn't be higher for this situation. And everyone I interviewed felt it was time to break their silence with what they could lawfully disclose, tell the public what they know that can be shared legally, and do it arm in arm with other credible people in a way that's safe.
Frame what the context is for people to look at this when they hear non-human intelligence life, lack of disclosure, cover up. What should people be coming into this with what they want answered?
I think we're at a point where the public should become aware of the base facts, that fundamental truths have been hidden from us for 80 years, that massive amounts of tax dollars are being put towards a project that no one has any visibility into. There's no congressional oversight. It's kept from the president. And since the stakes impact all of us, there should be a base level of transparency. I think what I hope to see happen is for this to become the serious national conversation it deserves to be, and for people, the average person, the public, to demand transparency from the government, and for us to quickly get to a place where a sitting president steps to the podium and tells the world we are in fact not the only intelligent life in the universe, that we have in fact recovered craft of non-human origin, that other countries have as well, and that we are in a high-stakes technology race that is essentially the atomic race on steroids, and the U.S. intends to lead that way.
Do you believe that it is about technology, or do you believe it is about extraterrestrial life forms sending things here?
I think that we're dealing with technology made by non-human intelligent life, whether that is extraterrestrial or has been here all along or come here some other way is yet to be determined. But the people in my film go on the record about retrievals of crashed craft that had non-human bodies in them, some intelligent life that was not human. Multiple people in the film talk about how the recoveries have included different types of bodies, so implying different species. So there's no reason to assume we're talking about one other form of life. It's more likely that the universe is full of life, and we are now realizing that.
Well, I got to tell you, NewsNation has been all over this, and I believe for the right reasons. We're not pushing any hype. We believe that they know things and that the government works for the people, not vice versa. And I appreciate the provocativeness of this project. It is an impressive roster of voices you have on it. One of the few things I think that if they come with an open mind will be satisfying to both sides in terms of what the right questions are and what's been answered and isn't. And I think you did that very well, and I applaud you for it. And you're always welcome here to discuss what comes next.
Thank you. Yeah, I to double down on that, I was shocked to see how this was truly the most bipartisan issue of our time. Leaders from both parties. I interviewed Rubio on the same day that I interviewed Senator Gillibrand from New York, and they both looked me in the face and told me they thought this was profoundly important.
I agree with them. Finally, our politicians are right, and they agree about something that they should. Dan Farah, thank you very much. The Age of Disclosure is going to be available on Prime Video and in select theaters starting tomorrow. Good luck, and we'll be right back. With the country on edge, NewsNation continues its coverage with Leland Vittert right now.